Welcome back. We're going to start a new segment today. I think we're going to try weekly to post a video about a particular animal track. Tracking is not only really important to me, but it's a really important skill. Kersey Lawrence likes to say, always tracking, everything is tracking. I apologize if I got that wrong, Kersey. But really, anywhere you go in your daily life, you can be tracking. You know, when you get home from work, can you tell if your significant other went shopping, buy empty bags laying around, or a receipt, or buy more groceries in the fridge than you had when you left? That is tracking. You know, when you get up in the morning, can you tell if your brother took your dog out because there's fresh tracks in the snow? That's tracking. Everything that we do can be related back to tracking. And once you start learning it, it's really fun. So I think that what we're going to do is start weekly, putting out a video of a particular animal track that we find, and I'll kind of walk you through the steps of how I go about identifying that track, and maybe a few ideas of what you can do with these tracks moving forward. Hopefully you'll all enjoy these videos. Hopefully you'll get something out of it. If nothing else, I'll learn more about tracking. I'll become a better tracker, and hopefully I can do better on my next evaluation. Let's go see what we can find. All right. I found a track that I think is a really good one to start with. If you'll see here, this is obviously a canine track. The way we can tell it's a canine track is that it has 4 toes, 4 claws showing, and a very visible palm pad. It's fairly symmetrical. If we cut it in half here and fold it in half, the two sides are the same. All of these things scream canine. The next question is, how do we figure out what type of canine left this track? The first strategy we're going to use, and this will be a continual strategy throughout your tracking career, is going to be, what are the options? We're in northern Wisconsin. It's early winter. What possible canines could have left this track? As far as I know, the answers are gray fox, red fox, domestic dog, coyote, or gray wolf. I believe those are the only possible options. So now, how do we go about figuring out which animal it is? Well, if you'll take a look at this track, you'll see that it is roughly 3 1/4 inches from the back of the palm pad to the front of the claws. Gray fox is going to be under 2 inches, and the claws are not going to show. Red fox will be right around 2 inches with claws. Coyote will be between 2 and 3 inches with claws, and gray wolf will be over 3 inches with claws. So we've just narrowed it down to it's either domestic dog or gray wolf. So in that first step, we've eliminated gray fox, red fox, and coyote in 10 seconds of looking at this track. So let's talk about some of the strategies we can use next. First of all, where are we? We're on a frozen lake. Are we in a neighborhood? Yes, we are. Are there any human tracks around? Yes, there are. Does that mean it's domestic dog? No. We also have gray wolves here, and we have seen gray wolves in this area. So now we have to narrow it down to, is it domestic dog or gray wolf? The presence of human tracks can be an indicator, but it's not a rule. I have walked into the woods and then turned around and walked back out and found coyote tracks in my old tracks. So the presence of human tracks does not mean that it's a domestic dog. So let's look at the track. First of all, this track is 3 inches wide. I've never seen a wild dog track that was that long. Second of all, look how long these claws are. Wild dog tracks the claws are typically shorter because they get worn down as the dog runs across a wild substrate. Also, in a wild dog track, you'll have your toes and your palm pad, and everything will be pointing straight forward. Their feet get a lot of exercise. They're always moving. So their toes point straight forward. They're strong. Let's look at these ones, and you can see this toe kind of points this way, this one kind of goes this way, and these two kind of come like this. That tells me that this is a domestic dog track. Further, in a wild dog track, do you see in our domestic dog track here, the negative space kind of makes a rough H? In most wild dogs, that negative space will make an X. The palm pad will be here, there will be a toe here, and two toes here, and the negative space will make an X. The exception to that is fox. Fox tracks have an H like a domestic dog, but there are other characteristics. Let's take a look right over here at these. These are all from the same animal. You'll see the toes look slightly different. The claws don't show up as much. The toes aren't spread as far apart. But look how big this palm pad is. Look how big this palm pad is. And look how big this palm pad is. That's very characteristic of a domestic dog, not a wild dog. Also, you can still see the claws are curved. The claws are curved. In this one, the claws are kind of curved. Whereas in the wild dogs, like we said, we're going to see the claws all pointing straight forward. So we've determined that these are domestic dog tracks. In fact, these tracks were made by my dog, Truvy, who is a black lab, about 10 minutes ago. I decided that I wanted to start with domestic dog for a couple of reasons. The first is, this is one of the easiest mistakes to make when you're tracking. You see a dog track, you assume it's coyote, you assume it's wolf, you assume it's fox. How do you tell? Some of the strategies that we've just talked about, the shape of the negative space, the width of the track relative to the length of the track, the size and shape of the claws, and the direction that the toes point, as well as the relative size of the palm pad to the rest of the track. Wild dogs are going to tend to have a smaller palm pad. All the toes are going to point forward. The claws will be shorter, as if they're higher up on the toes, and they'll typically have more of a point. Also, wild dog tracks are typically going to be narrower because their toes are stronger and they're pulled in. So what we have here is a domestic dog, specifically a black lab. I'm going to put in some pictures here where you can see what fox tracks, coyote tracks, and gray wolf tracks look like so that you can compare them. I'll then add a couple of still photos of this track so that you can go back and forth and look if you want to try to do some comparison for yourself. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit about tracking. If you think you know anyone that might find value in this video, please by all means share it with them. If you've enjoyed it, let us know what you think. Let us know if you learned anything or what you thought about the video. And please keep watching. In the future, we'll be adding a new track every week. Thanks for watching. First, we'll see the domestic dog track that we've been discussing so far. Now you'll see a gray fox. Notice the round shape and lack of claws. And a red fox. Notice how it's obscured by fur, has an H shape, and a chevron-shaped palm pad. Now a coyote. Notice how it's long, narrow, and clean. And a gray wolf. This is the largest canine around. And finally, back to our original domestic dog track.